Hey everyone, this is MyKill, drummer for Sinners and the singer and bass player for Fever Vein, and you are here on the Subject Press.
Voices are screaming from inside my head. These visions are still haunting me.
Hey y'all, this is Amanda from the Subject Press, and I'm on the phone with MyKill Vittoria from Sinners and Fever Vein. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
So that name, actually, I've never heard of your name before. How did you come up with that name? Is it like your real name or is it stage name?
My real name is Michael. And
Michael.
The funny thing about it is I wanted something, really cool as a stage name. And for years, everyone used to just call me Mike. And every time someone used to call me by my full name, I always pictured like my mother yelling at me, which was quite frequent because I was always a troublemaker. So I was like, you know what? It's kind of a play on words, and I thought, it kind of sounds pretty cool. Maybe, kind of a little cheesy at times, but I said, screw it. Yeah, I like it. So, it stuck. And now people don't even call me Mike or Michael. They call me MyKill all the time.
MyKill, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. It has like a cool little ring to it too, like MyKill. Yeah. So both of the bands that you're in, Sinners and Fever Vein, are based out of New Jersey.
Yes.
How is the music scene there? Are y'all like very well known in New Jersey?
I would love to say that we are, the biggest band in New Jersey on the East Coast and, all of the United States. Unfortunately, you can't even say that. It's really hard for any of the bands, not even just my bands. It's hard for any band around here to really break out. They have to do something that's so amazing that somebody's going to want to be a part of it and they're going to follow it. The only problem with it is unless you're a cover band, because New York, New Jersey, the whole tri-state area over here, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, that's all they care about around here. Bars want to pack people in. They want to make money. So they're going to bring in people that want to hear somebody else's music. They don't want to hear your music because nobody knows your music. They'd rather pay some guy, some band to do a cheesy cover of, a Bon Jovi song and pay them like $400 at the end of the night than hiring, an actual band and pay them good money to, around here. And I'm not sure about the rest of the United States, but I'm sure it's probably the same. It's pay to play.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same in New Orleans, especially like a lot of the cover bands, they play on Bourbon Street at like the karaoke clubs or like the music clubs and on Bourbon Street, and all of them are pretty much cover bands. Now, like...
You're in that area, yeah, especially over there. It's Party Central.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's, drinking all like hand grenades and stuff like that, and they're like, I just want to listen to,
somebody play me some Skinner. It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately it's like that all over. So it's like we're Sinners and Fever Vein, my two bands, we're pretty much well known within a small area. There's very few clubs around here that you're even able to go play in. A lot of the bigger clubs, if you're lucky enough to know somebody to get you in there, that's the only way you're getting in. Other than that, you're stuck playing the little bars and the smaller clubs. The biggest club in northern New Jersey, where we're all from, is a place called Dingbats in Clifton, New Jersey. And nice place, it's a good place to play. My biggest problem with it is lately it seems like when you go to play there, everyone hangs in the back by the bar. Nobody comes up to watch the bands. So it becomes it becomes a little disheartening unless you put together a really good show, which I've done once before, where I was able to a show. It was actually Sinner's second show way before I joined. It was the second show they did with Fever Vein on a show I called War is Hell. Tried putting together a series of shows and trying to do a small club run with the same bands, kind of all go on tour together. And it kind of fizzled out after the second show. It got really bad. But the first show was a success, and we just had so many people, and we had a internet radio station that came down, and the guy broadcasted live, so all the bands went over the air. So if you didn't make it to the show, you tuned in, and everyone was able to hear it. It was a great night. There's some video up, I believe, on YouTube somewhere, and you see it. It was just a really great night. It was a lot of fun. You know, like I said, being with the two bands. You know, a lot of people are like, well, wait a minute, how are you doing two bands? Well, I'm like, I'm not doing the same stuff with the two bands. So with Fever Vein, I originally was hired to be the singer. Mm-hmm. And as years gone by, which is, as a matter of fact, next month will be 6 years I'm with Fever Vein, it got to the point where I used to play bass and guitar years ago in other bands, and we went through a small revolving door of bass players. You know, the last thing that we recorded that was actually, you know, professionally done, put out a CD, we had Mike LaPond of Symphony X, which...
Oh, cool.
He is an amazing talent, one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and an amazing, amazing player. He did the whole album's worth of music in one take, each song, and I was like, God, I hate you.
Wow.
He was amazing. I was sitting in the other room. I didn't want to bother him. I was just kind of like getting ready, thinking about what I'm going to be doing, vocal stuff, and I'm listening inside. I'm like, done.
Right.
Done. God, I hate you. But phenomenal talent. He just loves to play. He loves music. He'll play on almost anyone's, you know, CD. He'll, give me a call, you know, you pay him. That's what he does for a living.
Yeah, and it's so rare to find, like, people like that, too, that are, like, you know, kind of big name like that, and then they're like, yeah, I'll play on your album. Really? Yeah. Like, it's awesome for musicians.
Yeah, it's great.
Do that kind of thing.
And he even did a few shows with us. And, after the couple of shows he did, he had to get back to doing his the Symphony X thing. I picked up the bass, and I've just been playing, you know, bass ever since with the guys. So now I'm singing and playing bass, and now we're a trio.
That's awesome. So, like, I'm always amazed at how musicians can play and sing at the same time while performing, like, without getting confused or off track or off timing. Do you find it more difficult to sing and play bass at the same time, or
well,
how do you?
At first, years ago, it wasn't that hard. Because a lot of the music I was playing, the vocals kind of followed the flow of the music. But the stuff I'm doing with Fever Vein, the music and the lyrics, I try to be a little different where it's not, you know, on the note. I try to flow through the notes. Best example I can give you is the way Geezer Butler described Ozzy and Dio. Ozzy sang on the note where Dio tried to find the melody between the notes.
Yeah.
So now it's become a little more difficult trying to do older Fever Vein songs where I was just singing that were a little bit more intricate with, you know, the guitar work and bass work. And now I'm trying to incorporate both, and my brain's just not processing. It's kind of tough to process what I was singing and trying to concentrate on what I was playing. So I'm like, you know what? Certain songs we can kind of put off to the side because we don't play them anymore. Let's move to, you know, find songs that work, and we were able to do that.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Yeah, and it's tough. And everyone kind of wonders how the hell I can sing and play drums at the same time, because that's what I do with backup vocals. But I also, you know, I play the drums. And the funny thing is, years ago, the singer for Sinners, she's my sister. I love her to death. Her name is
like a
her name.
sister in band.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. You know, we were together in a cover band years ago, and it was mostly for fun. It was just, you know, to do whatever, have some fun. And I was playing rhythm guitar and doing some lead vocal, and she would do some vocals. And there was a song we used to, where the drummer would always, he had a voice very much like Lemmy. So he would come up and he would sing a Motorhead song, and my friend Nancy would go and she would play the rhythm guitar and I'd play the drums. So we used to call it switchcraft. And, you know, we always used to turn around and, you know, change instruments on a couple of songs. So we were partners together in a band years ago, and then just over a year now, I've been with playing drums for Sinners. And we're in the studio recording a full-length album. All the drum tracks are done. So we just got to go in and brush up on all the leads, and go in and redo the, you know, we did a scratch vocal. Go in, redo the vocals, do all the backing vocals, hopefully trying to get that done before the end of the year.
And it's kind of playing the drums and singing at the same time. You probably have to have like that mic so particularly like by your mouth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It has to be in this exact spot in front of my mouth.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I'm at rehearsal, I don't have one of those good drummer mics that have that kind of that flexible bendy, you know, arm to them where I can just pull it right in front of my face. I'm using a regular boom mic, and I got to pull over to the side, and there's been many a night that I've whacked the hell out of it with drumsticks, which is not a lot of fun, but it happens. It's tough navigating two bands, although I do fill in for another one. Yeah.
Like three, man.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I'm in three, and the thing is, I was actually in three for a short period of time. I had told this other band that I was in, I'm like, look, I got, you know, it's too much. And I told the guys I'm going to have to stop singing. It was a band called Ogre from New Jersey as well. A really good friend of mine. He was like a brother to me. I'd known him for over 20 some odd years. He had passed away a couple of years back, and we did a tribute show.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, it was almost like he came through your soul. It sounded like him that night. So they kept asking me to sing and sing and sing. So I was singing with them for quite a while. And I'm like, guys, all right, it's now affecting me where I can't do all the shit I want to do with this band, and I can't do what I want to do with that band, and it's too much.
So when you did that tribute, did you feel like, you know, he was there with y'all?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because the great thing about that is I wasn't the only guy up there singing those songs. We wanted to basically make it a tribute of two people that our friend really loved vocally. And he always talked about me, you know, all the guys in the band and his wife. They were all like, dude, he always talked about you. He loved the way you sang. And there was another guy who was more of a bluesy, kind of a rock singer. When we actually sat and talked, he was, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pull this off because I'm not even that kind of a singer. But he definitely was there, and he kind of came through both of us and made sure that, you know, we were able to pull that off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it took two of us to fill his shoes that night, but it was an amazing night. Place was packed. That actually, a good buddy of ours, he filmed the whole thing, and that's up on YouTube as well. If you look up Ogre Live at Mexicali Live, it'll come up, and it's a great video. Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of the Fever Veins, I liked the way he did that filming so much. I asked him to do one for Fever Vein, and he came down, and there's one, he used 3 cameras, and sure enough, that night that he used the 3 cameras, one of them gave him shit. So my drummer keeps making jokes with me all the time. He goes, why did you let him put that up? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I thought it was great. He goes, dude, 3/4 of the goddamn concert is the camera next to my face. It's like, who wants to see the side of my head the whole fucking night? it was kind of funny, but you know, I do understand his point. You know, I'm sure there's probably other angles he could have used, but it's just a good time. We had a blast that night.
Yeah, that does sound a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the Sinners and Fever vein, how like that kind of music. So Sinners is more like a fast metal, Norwegian metal.
No. Believe it or not, everyone confuses us with black metal when they see us because we're all wearing corpse paint.
Yeah, I was about to ask about the makeup. I mean, not that y'all are like the first band to ever do like the makeup stuff like that, but how do y'all like differentiate yourself between like, you know, wearing the makeup compared to like, I don't know, like Slipknot or Mushroom Head and how they do all their makeup and stuff too?
Well, they got professional guys making masks for them, which is absolutely cool. And we're a bunch of struggling musicians who go to Halloween stores and put on makeup. The best difference I can basically tell you is the way Sinners was formed, the best way I can explain it is they wanted Sinners to be sounds like. All right, we're a bunch of sinners, but we have a singer who doesn't wear makeup. So it's like she's the only angel out of us all, but she's also have sinned. But she controls the rest of us, we're pretty much all demons. You know, that's the way we're kind of looking at it. And all our designs that we do and all the makeup we've done, we all pretty much stay the same. I tried changing one show and everyone thought, you know, I tried doing a skull face and it must have came out wrong because everyone's like, dude, why'd you dress like a cat? I'm like, all right, I'm never doing that again. So
cat.
Yeah, there you go, meow. So we pretty much try to keep it, you know, where we have our own identity, not to the point where, okay, we'll go, look, I'm the demon and you're the spaceman. This is not Kiss. But, you know, it's just we're all sinners in some strange way. And our music, the way we try to make our music is not overly aggressive, nothing satanic, nothing all godly either. It's just good, clean rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, with some heavy riffs and, you know, unfortunately, the only thing Sinners has been plagued with is they've had a revolving door of drummers. I'm hoping I'm the last drummer they'll ever need.
Yeah, I hope so too.
You know, I mean, the last drummer, he kind of left by default because he had suffered a bad accident with an issue with his back. And he just he couldn't sit behind the kit and keep playing. And, you know, where it was really affecting him and hurting him. So they had called me about almost 2 years ago and said, hey, would you, you know, this one's back is killing him. Could you help us out and, you know, fill in for a show? And that's the way I left it, is I was just filling in. And I went to one rehearsal, learned all their songs, and then did the show that week. So I didn't even have time to prep, and we went in and you know, we played, and that was a great night. Almost half a year later, when they're like, dude, his back is just shot. He can't do it anymore. We need another drummer. Do you want to do it? I was like, yeah.
Do you have to ask me? I mean.
Yeah, I was actually kind of waiting for the day that they, you know, called me. I was like, you know, one of these days it's going to happen. You know, they're going to call me and ask me if I want to play. So I just, you know, held my, you know, my head up and waited and said, you know, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, oh well. You know, I still have the memories of that night, and it was great. But it turned out to where here I am, guys, and we're kicking ass. As a matter of fact, we have a show this Friday that I'm really anxious to play because it's at a new club that we've never played before. So we're hoping for a lot of good things.
Well, that sounds friggin' awesome. So, so like, do y'all tour? Like around the United States, and I know, like, do y'all ever come down south or California or Texas?
Sinners has played California. They was it about 2 years ago? They went out and they played the Whiskey in Los Angeles, and then they played another place out in they played there, and then they played someplace in San Francisco. And of course, that was before I joined the band, which I was really upset. I was like, God damn it! But you know, we're hoping to. Our goal with the album we put out is when people hear it, we're hoping that we can get out of New Jersey and do some traveling and hit some of the places that we know people would really love to see us.
Mhm.
And
I'll have no problem like sharing y'all's music on my Facebook because I'm in New Orleans, and like New Orleans, we don't really have like a whole lot of a metal scene. You know, we do, but then we don't. And like the metal scene that we have is just mostly local metal bands here, but we do get like some big name bands here that play at like House of Blues in Southport Hall. So I'm like,
well, I would absolutely love that. Yes, thank you very much.
Because I was actually listening to both of your bands last night to, you know, do some research and stuff for this interview. And I was listening to it, and my brother comes in. He's, who are you listening to? Oh, this guy that I'm going to be interviewing on the phone tomorrow. This is his band, Fever Band. He's, dude, it's good. I know. Are they known? I was like, well, I mean, yeah, they're kind of known, like, you know, New Jersey, New York, and stuff like that. But I don't know about, like, world known or anything. And he goes, well, of course not, because all the good bands aren't not world known. I know, right?
Yeah, well, we're hoping. I mean, one of my dreams, and I don't care what band I do it with, my absolute ultimate goal is to play the Wacken Festival in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every one of my favorite bands I watch have played there, and to see 400,000 screaming metalheads, regardless as if they like black metal or traditional metal or Viking metal or whatever kind of music they're into, everybody loves every band.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you can't go wrong. It's a buffet of metal, and it's the only way I can describe it, you know, and I would absolutely love to be a part of that. I could retire from music getting to play on one of those stages. It would, you know, and even if it wasn't even the biggest stages there, because the two big stages are absolutely enormous, and they're the ones that have, you know, the 400,000 people in front of them. But that place is a festival, so there's bands playing all over. A band that I do know has played in one of the smaller venues on the Wacken Festival, and there were still over 3,000 people, you know, hanging out. And I'm like, I'll play in front of 3,000 people. Bring it on.
Right.
Let's do this. You know, I was really gung-ho about it. So it doesn't matter what band it is. That's, you know, the ultimate dream. But to get to go to Europe, what?
Have y'all ever played in a festival before, like an outdoor festival?
I know I have with one of my older bands, and I know the Sinners back in the day did one of those things to get on one of those kind of tours, like I think it was the Warped Tour or something.
Yeah.
And they won, but the problem was the guy wrote them back and said, I don't think you guys would be good for this kind of a festival. So where they won, they didn't win. So I was like, well, that's kind of fucked. You won the contest, but because you don't think that they would fit your festival, shouldn't you have screened them properly beforehand?
Right.
You know, and you could have said something, you know, prior to that. But no, you turn around and you got their hopes up that they were going to go on the band's Warped Tour, and you said, no, I don't think you're going to be a good fit for this thing. Okay, great. Years ago, I got to play the Bamboozle Festival.
Oh, yeah. I
got to co-headline it with Gwar, which was the absolute greatest fucking experience of my life. You know, to see Gwar in, you know, as much as the original Gwar at that time. But the best part about it is at the end of their set, we were kind of thrown on the second largest stage because you had the real big stage with all the huge acts on the one side of the park. And then you had the second larger stages on the other side of the park, and then you had all the little tents that were put up that had bands playing underneath all those. And we technically didn't win the contest to get on it, but we impressed the guy who ran it so much. He goes, didn't you guys say that if you won, you wanted to play with Gwar? And we're like, yeah. And he goes, you got it.
What?
So we won anyway. So where all the other bands who officially won the contest went on at like 12 in the afternoon, early, and there was a few people. I had, we played at the end of the night, technically headlined our stage, and I had the guys in War saying, there's another band coming on, don't leave. You better stay and watch. I'm like, wait, he doesn't have to do this. They don't have to say that kind of stuff. Dave Brokey, rest in peace. Mm-hmm. After they got done, he ran and took all his gear off, cleaned up his face with all the makeup, and he sat on the side of our stage watching our band play.
Oh, wow. So
and I was
you got to meet all of them?
Yeah, well, I had met them earlier that day because they were doing promotional stuff, and I ended up meeting and talking with them prior to that. So it made me feel really good. That really nice guys, very down-to-earth guys. And the fact that, like I said, he sat side stage and watched the whole thing, I thought that was amazing.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that was like the largest, and that was in New Jersey at the time, Giant Stadium, big place. So even though you're in the parking lot of Giant Stadium, you're still playing in front of 1,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. And there is footage of that show, but my old guitar player for my old band has it, and he refuses to let me get a copy of it. And he hasn't put it up. So I can't even go back and watch it. And I'm really absolutely ticked off about that too.
So since you did play in an outdoor festival and you play a lot in indoors at a venue, do you like playing in a venue better, or?
Oh, it depends. And I guess the best example would be is last year Fever Vein was asked to be a part of one of the motorcycle clubs that are in the area, the Nam Knights Motorcycle Club. They were scouting bands to do their own Battle of the Bands at one of their clubhouses, which was outdoors. And we were scouted along with 3 other bands, and we got to go up and play. And it was the middle of August, and it was 106 degrees out. We didn't go on till about 6 o'clock in the evening, but the sun was still blaring on top of us. Yeah, it was still at one of its strongest points in the day. Second song in, I definitely didn't make it, and EMTs rushed the stage and the whole nine. But 20 minutes later, I came back. Once my heart rate came down and I got cooled down, I came back out on the stage and finished the show, and we won the Battle of the Bands. So that was great, but it definitely got me worried about playing outdoor festivals, because they did it again this year, and they wanted the returning champs to come and open the show for the new bands. And I was all panicked and worried, and my wife was watching everything I did, and like, look, make sure you're hydrated, make sure this, that, and the other. And sure enough, it was about 20 degrees cooler, and they did it a month earlier, and it looked like it was almost getting ready to rain, so there was a heavy breeze blowing by. And sure enough, it passed, which was good, but it definitely made me think about God. It was really worried about being outdoors in those conditions. If it was darker, wasn't in the direct sun, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. But, that's what happens when you don't hydrate.
Right, yeah. Yeah, because I've been to tons of outdoor music festivals. I've been to, Voodoo Fest, which is like a big, rock metal Voodoo Fest here in New Orleans. And then I've been to Jazz Fest a bunch of times. And Jazz Fest is during April. It's really kind of like hit or miss here with the weather in April. And it's either like pouring its butt off, or it's bright and shining and blazing balls hot. And I've always wondered, like, how, if I'm feeling the heat in the audience, I wonder if the people on stage feel just as much heat as I do, or because they're also moving, they're like sweating buckets as well, too.
Well, one of the things you got to also remember when it comes to bigger bands on those big stages, what they like to do is put up fans, constantly blowing cold air, or as much air as they can around the stages to keep everybody somewhat cool and making sure that they're constantly hydrated. But another problem is most bands don't give a shit about hydration. They're like, screw this, give me fucking beer and let me go out on stage.
Yeah.
So, but if you're conditioned properly to handle it, then, you know, you're set. So that's the biggest problem with, you know, younger bands, more inexperienced and not dealing with that. They don't really know you know, what they should do. They're so excited, the adrenaline's going, they get up on a stage, and it can hit you all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're in a venue that's not covered. So even if you are playing outdoors, but if you're in a covered stage where the sun's not directly on you, it probably wouldn't be so bad.
Right. And that's how you felt? Were you hydrated or not hydrated?
Yeah, I actually brought I brought a cooler all for myself filled with waters and Gatorades, and I didn't touch a beer until after I got off the stage. I was like, once I'm done and I'm done playing, then we're going to go, and then it's time to party. So it definitely made a good, it was for a good day. It turned out to be a great day.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Sinners and Fever Vein are two separate kind of genres of metal.
Yes.
Do you find it difficult or easy to play those separate genres? Like, do you have to like put yourself like in a different mindset to play in Fever Vein and play in Sinners?
Actually,
differentiate.
Actually, no. I guess the good thing about the way I am with me is I love so much music that I can kind of turn it on. I can turn it on at any time. So when I play with Fever Vein, it's a lot heavier, more aggressive, a little bit, you know, a little prog in there. You know, it's very, you know, kind of Opeth style. Is kind of where we're heading, I should say. We've always had a little hints of it here and there in our music. You can hear our influences, but that's kind of where that is, and I can, you know, the minute I walk into rehearsal, that mindset is already set on doing that kind of music. Sinners, I'm automatically into that mode because, you know, I get behind the kit and it's like, okay, start warming up. Boom, let's go. What are we doing? And you just have, you know, some people might have to. It's when you go on stage that I kind of I have to turn on, you know, find that certain place, because when I put the makeup on in Sinners or Corpse Paint or War Paint or however you want to call it, I kind of got to get into character.
Yeah.
And become that character. Because I don't like to just be like a typical guy behind the drums and so, whatever. You know, just play the drums, play my part, and then get up and walk off stage. I want to be a little theatrical with it. Yeah. I tried doing that with Fever Vein a while back, where I was trying to be theatrical, and a lot of people dug it, but they also didn't understand it for that kind of music. There was one night I went out on stage where I had a Hannibal Lecter mask on, an actual real one.
Oh, wow.
And but it was tough to sing through.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd have it on, and I'm trying to sing through it. And, yeah, it looked good, and I was like yanking hair out of my head because I was trying to be like this psychotic. You know, I was trying to portray the character of the song, which we have a video for. The song is called Screams of the Insane. And you see me wearing it in the video. And it was really cool. It was like I enjoyed doing it, but nobody really got it. And then we did a song I had called Bone Crusher. And it was basic, you know, and I thought, okay, what can I do? I want to do something theatrical as we were getting ready to do this one show that we call Rocket Fest. And it's been going on for 6 years. And it's basically dedicated to a friend of ours that we called Rocket. That was his nickname. And so Fever Vein was getting set to play the second annual Rocket Fest, and I wanted to do something really different. So we had all this smoke going up on stage, and I came out dressed in a full Grim Reaper costume, 4-inch platform, New Rock shoes, the whole nine. And I had a 2-piece skull mask on, so it was easier to sing through. So visually it looked really cool, but it didn't really fit the image of the band.
Yeah.
So I've kind of put all that aside, And I let my creativity go with Sinners. Just kind of, be the maniac I want to be on that.
And it's cool that you can do that, like, in both bands, too. You can be, like, who you are in Fever Vein, and then in Sinners, you're like, I'm going to be this character. And I always find it, like, so cool to, like, dress up for one band and then, like, be yourself for another one. But then you're kind of still yourself for both bands. But, yeah, I think that's always cool.
Well, it's also a way to give, people their money's worth when they come to see you, because it's like you're not just, this stiff character, the same person. Oh, well, I just saw him with Beaver Vein, and he's doing the same shit here, except behind the drums. It's like I want people to come and enjoy and have fun and see a different side of, or different personality, I guess you could say, that I have. It makes for good entertainment, because not only do you want people, I feel the best way to make people feel good when they come to see a band is not just hear what you're playing, but they should be able to see and enjoy visually. I mean, there was a band I used to breathe fire on stage. And once that whole Great White thing happened, that got, the kibosh. No more clubs were allowing that. So I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
So, fuck you, Jack Russell. But it was a good time, and doing stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun. I would still like to do it. Now that I'm in like a band like Sinners, if we can ever get a good outdoor show, I'm breathing fire all over.
Oh yeah.
It's like, bring it on. It's like I want to be the, and even though lately his name is it has been taboo, but I'll say it anyway. I want to kind of be the Gene Simmons of drummers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I want to play everywhere. I want to get our name out everywhere, and we're trying to get people to understand who the hell we are. And hopefully soon we can start playing in some other states. I definitely would love to go to other countries, South America, Japan, Germany. Those are the places you want to go.
Oh yeah.
Playing in Rio and fucking like I said, all over Germany and Tokyo. They love music.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
so different here. It's so different in America because it's like, they absolutely love it.
Music. They love American music.
Yeah. See, it sucks because there's so many good bands that play here in the United States, and everyone's like, yeah, well, I like that one, or I like that song, or I like this song. Okay, I'm done listening to you. Next. And it's like you're the flavor of the month. People don't enjoy music unless it's been force-fed to them by MTV, and that's what you need to listen to. And that's why some of the great bands don't get the longevity they deserve, because they're not getting the same push as bands like Motley Crue and Poison used to get all the time. But, it's ridiculous. Or their local rock stations, they play the same freaking crap.
Yeah. And then, like, some of the stuff that they play, like, they consider classic rock is, like, stuff from, like, 10 years ago or, like, 12 years ago. And I'm like, that's not classic rock.
It's far from, first of all, I wouldn't consider it rock. And second of all, it's far from classic.
Right.
Classic rock to me is anything from the 70s and back.
Right.
But anything in the 80s, most other than if you're a fan of more of the aggressive style of music or pure heavy metal, then everything else was just garbage. I mean, a lot of bands lost me in the 80s for crying out loud. I mean, at one point, Kiss looked like a bunch of drag queens on stage, and they weren't wearing makeup, And all the other, I mean, it's like you're looking at an album cover, and you're like, oh, my God, these chicks are hot. Hey, dude, that's a guy. I'm like, what? That's a guy? And it's like, and it's like, but that's what it was. Hell, even Ozzy and fucking Judas Priest, two of my favorite bands, even they tried doing the glammy thing at one point. It's like, Turbo Lover, come on, what the hell is that? Judas Priest is still one of my favorite bands of all time. But
I was just about to ask you that. I'm like, who is your favorite band of all time?
I don't think you have enough time to write them all down. That's the bad thing. I love so many different bands. It's hard to really narrow it down to just one. I mean, what got me into music was when I was a little kid. I saw, I opened up the cover to Kiss Alive, and I was just like, oh my God, who the hell are these guys? I mean, they look like superheroes, for Christ's sake. I thought it was the greatest thing I ever saw when I was a little kid, seeing those album covers. And then later on, my cousin introducing me to bands like Van Halen and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and Deep Purple. I'm like, my God, this is incredible. And I was just like, in the throes of such great music. Mm-hmm. You gotta give it to bands like Sabbath and, for creating that genre and stuff like that. I'm not a huge Zeppelin fan, although, I do respect, everything that they've done. Like I said, it's so hard. I mean, it's like there's bands I can mention that you'll probably be like, who the fuck are these bands? I'm going to have to research these. It's like, there's a band that came out of Seattle in the mid to late 90s and all through the 2000s called Nevermore. And they were one of my...
I've heard of them, Nevermore.
I loved Nevermore. And they ended up calling it quits, which really sucks, but they were so fucking great. And I really wish they would have stayed together. Opeth, the diversity in their music is absolutely great. Yep, and then I enjoy bands like Slipknot, Stone Sour, all of that. Seven Dust is another great band. I got to meet those guys. The greatest bunch of guys I've ever met in music.
Oh yeah, you just said magic to me because I love Seven Dust. Like I would have to say they are my all-time favorite band, and I've met them before too, like on multiple times. And they always come to New Orleans, and they always love playing here. And it's just because they always feel like the fans here in New Orleans are like so dedicated and so loving and so passionate towards them. That's what they kind of told me when I met them, and I was like, well.
Yeah, they're such a great bunch of guys. I was really upset. I missed them this time around. They had just played the area, and I didn't get it. They sold out, and I was like, God damn it! But it's not like I've never gotten to see them, and I've met them, and I got pictures, and I got memories. So at least I know that I can at least say that I've seen them. Like Pantera, a lot of people can't say, "Oh man, I love Pantera," but I never got a chance to see them. I got a chance to see Dime with Pantera before it all ended,
Oh, wow.
So there's been a couple of bands like that. I got to see Guar before Dave Brokey passed away. I got to see Pantera. I got to see the band Death before Chuck Schuldiner passed away from a brain tumor, which sucked. He was such an amazing musician, the godfather of death metal. But yeah, and I listen, and that's the thing. I can't just pick one genre. I listen to everything. Right. Hell, before when I was at work, I was having lunch, and I was listening to Moonlight Sonata No. 5 in C minor.
That's awesome. So, as a musician, and you got to have that kind of diversity in the genres of music. You got to like that taste because how else are you going to pull all your inspiration, to create your own music?
Exactly.
So, do you write the lyrics to your songs? Like, do you
write
the lyrics
I do.
And Fever Vein or just Fever Vein?
Well, Fever Vein, I haven't gotten the chance to put my stamp on anything yet other than some drum stuff. We have only started writing some new material. We've been getting a lot of the stuff that they've already written recorded. So the only way I've put my stamp on anything musically is just whatever I've changed drum-wise. Lyrically, I'm hoping to change that with all the new stuff that we're writing. As far as Fever Vein goes, it's a group effort. Pretty much it's me and my drummer Lou that do a lot of the lyric writing. But I have looked to outside inspiration on quite a few songs. My wife is a poet, and I've taken some of her poems, and I've converted them into songs. And as a matter of fact, there's a couple of them on our Reverb Nation page that I know that are up. One's called Fall of Innocence, and the other one is called Hollow. So those were inspired by some of her works. I've done it quite a few times. I've used a few of her lyrics. It's definitely an open wheelhouse. Like, I might come up with a drum part that my drummer might not be feeling in a certain riff that we write, or he might have a vocal line, like a melody for me, or, you know, one of us will have a guitar idea that, you know, it's good to have that, where we all kind of, you know, work together as a team. And I'm bringing that same mentality into Sinners. And they're like, wow, man, you got an idea of where things are. There were a couple of songs that they had that were, you know, they've been playing like that for, a couple of years. And I'm like, well, what if he did it this way? And they've changed it up. As a matter of fact, we've recorded the song with the new change to it. And they're like, that works so much better. And it keeps the momentum. It keeps the feeling and the, you know, the energy. You know, I don't know. I got a knack for it, I guess.
Yeah. Anything new coming up with Sinners and Fever Vein? Any new shows? Any new albums coming out?
Well, like I said, hopefully with Sinners, we have a show coming up this Friday in Denellen, New Jersey, called at a place called Roxy and Dukes. It's a very old school kind of vaudeville looking kind of a club. I can't wait to play it. It'll be our first time there. So we have that show. Plus we're heading back into the studio to do more work on the full-length album. Let's see. With Fever Vein, we just played a show this past Saturday. Our next show won't be until September 23rd at Dingbats. And we have 2 albums of music that we're trying to finish. Our last album that we started recording, we have 7 songs written and recorded. But the guy that was working with us, who was our second guitar player, had some personal issues that he had to deal with, so he had to leave the group. And he was the one that was helping us do all the recording. We were in our own home studio. So now we have to take those files and find somebody else that can help work with us on that. And we just found them. And now that we're going to start working with him to finish that stuff and get that CD out, we have four new songs already written, ready to go, and we want to get another 3 or 4 more and put that on another CD. So there's going to be almost back-to-back CDs coming out from Fever Vein. Yeah, the new one, the first one that'll be out by Fever Vein, we already got album work, artwork up already. As a matter of fact, I believe it's on our Fever Vein page. If not, I know it's definitely on my personal Facebook page. It's titled Reaper of Souls. Definitely a little darker than the last one that we did, and the newer stuff is even going to be a little heavier and darker than that. Oh, I know Sasha would enjoy hearing this, because I know she was ecstatic when I talked to her on the phone yesterday. I'm also an artist. I do a lot of graphic design, but I also do my own artwork. And I'm getting ready to embark on doing my first comic book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's not going to be like a mamby-pamby, superhero kind of thing, like, I'm here for truth and justice. No, this is going to be all out, raw. It's going to be very adult-oriented, kind of placed in the modern world that we all live in. But, it's like, okay, what if superheroes were here? What would you do if you saw one? You'd probably flip them off. And they'd probably smack you, but what is the accountabilities of those things? I want it to be brutal. I want it to be honest. It might even be too much for some people to take, but, it's something that's been brewing for a lot of years, because I had tried auditioning to be an artist at Marvel and DC Comics, and they had both turned me down, and I was it knocked me down quite a bit, to the point where I was like, okay, I'm giving up on the artwork for a while, and I'm just going to concentrate on doing my music. And I try to do my artwork with all the bands I'm ever involved in. Like the new logo that is up there for Sinners, I designed. And
that's a cool one too. I like the feel to that one.
Yeah, well, I had a very good buddy of mine called Lars, not Lars Ulrich. He does a lot of computer graphics himself, and I had showed him the picture, and I was like, hey, could you help me, make sure all the lines are straight in this? And he did a bang-up job helping me finalize the final version of that. And the logo for Fever Vein I've also done. So that's all my artwork there. And hopefully very
I looked
soon.
on y'all's Reverb Nation page last night, and I was like, ooh, that's pretty art right there.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, that's all me. And if you've ever heard of the New Jersey thrash band Whiplash, they've been around for well over 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're getting ready to drop a brand new album, and I did the cover art for it.
Oh, sweet.
So I'm waiting on them to tell me whether or not everything looks good and everything's set up properly. So hopefully, that'll be out really soon. I'm really stoked. I've been dying to show people the artwork, but I can't. Kind of like, I'm under one of those, like, you're not allowed to do this. Damn it.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully soon that'll be out. So I got a lot of things going all at once.
So your comic book, do you have like a name for it already? Or
believe it or not, that's the only.
Well,
I have characters picked out. I don't have a name for the book yet. It'll be under my company name, which is Brain Dead Comics, which I have to thank my old high school commercial art teacher for giving me the name Brain Dead. I was sitting in class drawing something, and I had my headphones on, and I was listening to Exodus's Pleasures of the Flesh. I just bought it. And one of the songs on the album is called Brain Dead, and then he goes, what song are you listening to? And I pointed to it, and he goes, yeah, you're fucking brain dead already. And it's stuck. That's kind of been my nickname ever since. Or at least it used to be. Now everyone knows me by my stage name. Mm-hmm. So it'll be under that. I do have characters picked out that I've drawn myself. The villainess in the first book, which might go over into the second one, I haven't figured out how long the story is going to be. I actually am designing it based on a friend of mine who's in a band who is not only a killer singer, she's into the whole black metal vibe, so there's times she'll wear makeup or the corpse paint and everything, and she's also like a fetish model and stuff like that, so she has that kind of weird vibe. So I designed the villainess based on her. And
cool.
When I talked to her about it, she was like, oh, yeah, I would love to see it. So I showed her a rough sketch of what it looked like, and she was like, oh, my God, that looks so fucking cool. So I can't wait to get started. I'm actually just waiting on my shipment of comic book pages so I can get going on that. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to get it done. And even if I get at least one issue pressed, I'll be happy.
Yeah, and Sasha can tell you, like, because her books are like all on Amazon and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I'm sure she can help you out with like,
trust me, I've been picking her brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually been a godsend meeting her, and the way we met is the funniest thing. I was doing a live Facebook feed from the studio one night while we were recording, and she watched it and she sent me a message afterward, like, I would love to do some kind of a review or a write-up. So on Subject Press's website, there is a review on what she saw based on Sinner's music. And I was like, well, that was so cool that she did that. And the fact that now Subject Press has been, a part of, it's part of the name that's kind of like staying, that everyone knows now, especially around New Jersey, because I've been letting everybody know and sharing the stories, and they're like, dude, that's so cool.
Yeah, if anybody, wants to do some more audio interviews, because obviously I can't fly to New Jersey, but, if anybody wants to do any audio interviews with me, I'm in New Orleans, and I would love to help out with that as well, and maybe I can try to get y'all to come here.
Well, I would love to actually come down there. One place I've always wanted to go and never have been. I'd love to actually go down to New Orleans.
Because I know this guy, his name's Tony, and he does a lot of the booking the bands for like more local metal bands. But he has booked like quite a few big name bands as well. So I can always give him a shout and be like, hey, check out Sinners and Fever Vein. These guys are really awesome. They'd love to come down here, see if we can work something out, or
Yeah, definitely keep me in the loop. definitely would like to see what, hopefully something good will come of it.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us for the Subject Press and for your fans?
Well, one, I'm absolutely, I love the fact that, everybody from Subject Press that I've talked to so far has been so welcoming, and you guys are great, and keep up everything you're doing for all the local musicians out there.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as anything else, check out Fever Vein, Facebook.com/Fever Vein Music. And you got Reverb Nation, which is ReverbNation.com/Fever Vein. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter. We're around. don't have an Instagram account anymore. I was like, no one's following, so I just got rid of it. But same thing. Sinners. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. I think there's a Twitter page, I believe. I know most of the stuff we do is either on Facebook or on YouTube. We're always trying to put new video up. So just definitely a lot of good videos there. There's a lot of good videos constantly being posted on our Facebook page from our fans, taking video of us from our shows. Mm-hmm. So hopefully soon we'll be able to get an actual professional video done. And maybe sometime soon I can either get an interview with either you or Sasha with the whole band, which would be great.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much, MyKill. It was a pleasure talking to you. I had a lot of fun talking to you. And
I had a blast talking